I'm not sponsored by Double Mint, but if what I'm saying is fresh, then let's run. Why am I here? Standing right by statues of 4 girls who died when this was bombed in 1963. The same year, a college cat with my skin color, went looking for Mississippi John Hurt and found him in Avalon, Mississippi. Why here? Why Americana's grandson? And why do I need your help? Stenopad. It's an old coffee stain. I represent one of America's greatest accomplishments and greatest blind spots all at the same time. A heterosexual white male who values personal and emotional responsibility. And wearing this hoodie in broad daylight is part of my privilege. And so, as someone with legacy privilege from the family I was born to, also raised by people in the Black community, but because of our country's appetite for culture war, I am the legacy of a biracial, dysfunctional Americana family. I was raised by both communities and rejected by everyone, but I don't have an axe to grind. I need your help because our country needs better options, and when it comes to earning a living, as a person who values personal responsibilities, I have student loans. And I want to pay them back, but making money the way I make right now is very, best way to say it is it's not efficient. I could be earning an income, doing the kind of work that helps people talk to one another and heal. I could be putting out my next album. I could be working on my documentary, Alabama King Snake, that talks about the alchemy of Southern Americana. I'm here because I represent both. As Americana's grandson, I'm both. Not one, not the other, both. Heterosexual white male who values personal and emotional responsibility, and someone who's born with legacy privilege because of the color of my skin, raised by people in the Black community also. But I'm gonna help the next generation with our biracial, dysfunctional family. We need better options. We do not have to keep repeating the past. America is using young people right now who have no more power than the girls who died here in 1963. But because of how we culture war, some people think it's really cute to tell more people about Jesus like we don't know about Jesus in the South. Like we don't know. I remember my cousin asking me, why don't people want to talk about God? And the first thing that came to my mind is we want to talk to people about God, but we don't want to wash the dishes with them. There's a fever. We need more people who think they know God to wash the dishes with their neighbors and get to know one another. It's like the amount of people who could raise their hand, who and no guilt and shame here, but the amount of people who could raise their hand because they have to take Ambien to go to sleep at night because they can't rest. Trauma, childhood trauma, adult trauma, call it what you will. They can't rest. And a lot of people will combine Ambien and alcohol and do things that are utterly irresponsible on top of all that. So why here today? Because I really could use y'all's help. I have a Patreon. If you're like me, you really can't afford to support too many people. I have Tony Baker. I support him on Patreon. But if all you can do is comment, like, and share about what you're experiencing from me, please do that. But if you can help, I could replace my income with 440 of y'all just at the $500 level on my Patreon. I could replace it with 110 people at the $20 level a month. So what do I call myself on Patreon? It's Good Hand Legion. My brother Shawan calls me Good Hand Gabe. Good Hand. That's how he answers the phone. Good Hand. Good Hand Legion is the name of my Patreon. Good Hand Legion. We are many. I get this from some biblical literature. The guy who's sleeping outside the city in the catacombs, and for all he knows, he's crazy. While the city's normal. Jesus comes and asks him, "What's your name?" And he says, "Legion, for we are many." Something really unique happens though. When Jesus listens to him and all the unclean stuff goes away, the city is afraid of him. Now that he has a sound mind, the city is afraid of him. Interesting. It makes me think time spent with the ancestors and the catacombs looks like what you do when you live outside of a catatonic city. You have to visit something deeper than the way everyone's playing with power. I've felt like that my entire life. Outside, catatonic city, out in the cold, doing my best to dig deep so I can figure out what in the world's going on. Why do I feel this way? So I need y'all's help. That's what this is about. For anyone who's still listening, Good Hand Legion, we are many. I could really use your help. The sooner I replace my income right now, the sooner I can spend more of my time making Alabama King Snake. It's about the alchemy of Southern Americana. I can spend more of my time helping people sort through their career goals, family treasure excavation. My next album. If you're wondering if I have skin in the game, wake up. I've got skin in the game, but I'm not arguing. I'm talking to anyone who's listening. I'm here today because this narrative is played out to hell and back. It's my turn with the bloodline. It's my turn with the mission. I have legacy privilege. I acknowledge that. But I also acknowledge that America wasn't good for everyone at the beginning. We need to get off of it. People who look like me, we need to get off of it. We have better ways to go about doing things. No one needs to hear more about Jesus if hearing about Jesus has nothing to do with honoring your neighbor. People who grew up like me, the second commandment is like the first. Love your neighbor as yourself. And that's because you cannot pretend like you love God when you do not love your neighbor. You cannot separate loving God and loving your neighbor. And those of us who see that you separate that, we see you. It has nothing to do with Jesus. It has nothing to do with anything. All right. I could use your help, everyone. Let's do this.